Xbox had their partner preview today where they dropped a lot of new trailers, including some game announcements and releases. I'm Leviatros, and today we're going to be going through each of the trailers and giving you my thoughts and impressions over them. Now, we're going to be going through it mostly in order, but I say my top 3 trailers for the end, and everything's going to be bookmarked. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So starting off, we got Unknown 9 Awakening. Now this is a game that it seems kind of interesting. There's some supernatural elements, some combat, and it seems like there's going to be some team-based. I can't really tell if it's turn-based or action-adventure, real like standard combat speed, but it seems like it has potential. I feel like there's too much unknown to really get really excited about it, but I think it has some potential, so we'll stay tuned and see what happens. Next up, we have Sleight of Hand. Now, this is a trailer that I feel pretty conflicted about, just because I feel like there's not a lot of insight into how the game's going to play or what it's going to look like, and so it's hard, again, to really get excited about. But we get some insight to the theme, the setting of the game. There's a lot of stuff with cards, but we don't really know how it plays until the end, this title card that says a hard-boiled third-person stealth sim, but that raises a lot more questions than it answers. So, you know, I don't feel like this is anything that's like, oh, this is going to be bad. I just feel like there's so little to go on that we'll just have to wait and see. But, you know, I guess we'll stay tuned. Next up, we have Creatures of Ava. Now, this is one, it seems like pretty nice, but I feel like not exactly my thing. It seems like you run around, can explore an open world, get some animals, work with them, stuff like that. But it doesn't really look like the typical game that I play, so I just feel like I'm not going to be the target audience for it. But for what it's going for, it seems pretty good. Next up, this is definitely the most unexpected trailer for me, because I was watching it, I was like, okay, you know, I don't recognize it. Is it a new game? And then there's Good Guys. I'm like, okay, that's Chucky. And so it's a crossover, and I was like, wait, is that Roblox? And I'm not too familiar with Roblox, but it seems like it's not even a crossover with Roblox. It's a crossover with Griefville that seems to be a game that was created inside of Roblox. And so definitely very unexpected, but you know, Chucky was recently added to Dead by Daylight, so another crossover is not out of the question. Definitely would have predicted a game within Roblox that I did not know of, but it is what it is. Next up, they got the drop announcement that the original trilogy of S.T.A.L.K.E.R is coming to console. And I feel like this is one, like I haven't played S.T.A.L.K.E.R, I've dabbled with it a little bit, maybe like 30 minutes into one of them. But I feel like it's something that's a bit of a blind spot for me, that I feel like I should really enjoy it, because Fallout 3 for the longest time was my favorite game of all time. And so even though it plays very differently, this one is much more survival based. I think it's something that I'll enjoy, like there's a lot of aspects of it that I'll enjoy. So I feel like something that I should definitely spend some time digging into, especially before the next S.T.A.L.K.E.R game comes out. And for myself, I'll probably play through it on PC, just because, especially with aiming, I prefer mouse and keyboard controls. But I think a game being able to reach a broader audience is definitely a good thing. So excited that this game that I feel like is probably underrated overall is able to reach a broader audience and getting some more attention. So next up, we have Monster Jam Showdown. And, you know, not a lot to say about this one. Seems like a pretty fun, arcadey racing game. Not something I'm really going to dig into, but, you know, for people that like monster trucks and can't afford to own one themselves, I think it'll be a nice little game to play and enjoy for a bit. Which also, the Hot Wheels game that came out like last year or 2 years ago was surprisingly good and had a lot more popularity than I expected. So is Monster Jam Showdown the next one? I guess we'll see. And then next is the first Berserker, Khazan. And it seems like it's a Souls-like, but it doesn't feel like something that's just like, oh, we're copying it directly. It feels like they have enough of a unique take on it to make it interesting. That the art style's a bit anime-inspired, seems interesting. And the combat, I mean, it's hard to tell how it plays without actually playing it. But I feel like this is one that's going to be above average as far as Souls-likes go. And just knowing myself, though, I don't expect it's going to be a game that I'll actually play through and beat to the end. Just because games like this typically ask a lot of time and dedication to beat. And I just know myself, I'm not going to prepare for that and dedicate it. But I think it's definitely one that's going to be, it looks like it's going to be pretty decent for the people that are looking for it. And then next we have Tales of Kenzera Zao. And this is one, it's a
Grief is ever
platformer,
present here.
and
From the
I
arid
don't play a lot
deadlands,
of
the harsh
platformers.
and
I mean, I
unforgiving
did enjoy
terrain,
both of
and
the
dense and
Ori
dangerous forest
games,
floor of
like
the
Ori and the
woodlands,
Blind
a place
Forest.
laden
And
with
so
mystery
I feel like
and
this
fear.
game has
In your
potential.
arsenal,
I'll probably
the
check it
master
out.
and master
You know,
of
I
sun,
think
chaotic
having
ballet that compels
more
you
games
to
in this
engage
genre
spirits in
that,
melee combat.
you know, there's like
The mask of the
Mario,
moon,
not a whole lot of
the
other
mask of the
notable
sun.
names. I think
You
there's
must
definitely
embrace the
potential
dance
and
of the
room
shaman.
for more. So
Each
I think this
ability
is one
gained by
that,
the player
you know,
can be
I
used
think will
both
be a pretty
adversely
nice
as well as in the
addition.
fray of combat.
Then next we have Frostpunk 2. And I don't play a lot of strategy games similar to Soulsborne's because or Souls-likes, because it tends to take a lot of time and commitment to really understand all of the systems and the balance of them. And so the first Frostpunk, I haven't really played it. As far as I know, it sounds like it's pretty popular and pretty good as far as like strategy games go. And so with Frostpunk 2, I feel like I'll probably try it out. I think it's one I'd definitely be interested in doing a Game Pass Give It a Go's episode over. Play it for an hour, give my first impressions on it. But when it comes to really sinking into it and understanding the systems, I feel like I'm probably not going to get there, but I think it'll definitely be... I feel like it's one that's going to appease the people that are looking for it, and strategy fans in general. Then next, we have Final Fantasy XIV Online announced coming to console, or at least Xbox, because I'm pretty sure it's already on PS4 and PS5. But again, with the like similar to the S.T.A.L.K.E.R trilogy being released on console, I think a game having a broader audience, access to more people, is always a positive thing. And as far as MMOs go, I've been trying out MMOs. I feel like Final Fantasy XIV Online is definitely one of the best to really invest your time into. And I played, like, it's probably my second most played MMO. My first would probably be World of Warcraft when I was in high school. And the thing is, I feel like MMOs, they ask a lot of time of you, and the gameplay can be pretty cyclical, or very similar for a long amount of time. And for me, I want more variety out of the game, or out of my time. And so with Final Fantasy XIV Online, the story being so good, I feel like it's one that I definitely get the most value out of my time spent with it. And so this is one that I'm really excited to see reaching a broader audience and more people getting to try it out for the first time. Hey guys, I was editing the video and verifying some of the comments I made. And one thing I wanted to mention that's an advantage of Final Fantasy XIV Online, in addition to the other reasons I stated, is how supportive and wholesome the community is. Because when you start the game, if you're a new player, then you'll have this sprout icon next to your username, and the top comment on the video announcing the Xbox release of Final Fantasy XIV Online is, "Lots of new sprouts are going to grow this month. It's going to be so cute seeing all the new players find their way around." And I feel like that being the top comment really speaks to the community overall, and coming into an MMO that's been out for so long and everyone else has such a depth of knowledge with the game, it can definitely be a bit intimidating, but seeing comments like that I think is really reassuring to a new player. So you're definitely going to have some people that are looking and eager to help you out. So just wanted to include that as well. Now back to the video. And then ending the showcase is the Kunitsu-Gami Path to the Goddess. This is one that I feel like has a lot of potential, but we'll have to see. Like, it's made by Capcom. They've been on a bit of a hot streak lately. Except that one. Except that one too. But I feel like they're set up well to make a good go at this game, and this game being something that's not like, oh, this is a common genre that people are going to be familiar with, and now we're making our own entry in the series. It seems like a combination of action and adventure and like RTS is definitely something that's not very common. Like, we'll have to see how it goes, but like I said, I think Capcom is well positioned to make a good attempt at it. And when I think of other games like that, or games that are similar to this, the only one I can really think of is Brutal Legend. And the only thing is that makes me a little bit wary, because I feel like the reaction or the impressions to that game was that the story, the setting, and the story were fun, and the combat was good. But then once they added in that RTS element, it kind of lost a lot of people. And I think part of it is that it wasn't really advertised as that, and so when they added in unexpectedly, then it's kind of like, oh, this is not exactly what I signed up for. So I think this game kind of advertising itself as that and making it clear that that's what it is going to definitely help with that. And so we'll see if Capcom's able to execute this concept well. But it's one I'll definitely keep my eye on and definitely interested to check out. Now we're moving into my top 3 trailers of the showcase. And starting off, we're going to go with The Sinking City 2. That I really enjoyed the first one. It is a bit janky with the combat, like that's definitely not the reason to play it. but the setting and the story I really enjoyed. And like most games, it's kind of uncommon that I actually play through to the end of a game. But the Sinking City, the first one, is one that I not only beat, but actually played multiple times to get more of the achievements. And I think the only achievement I don't have is like maybe 2 or 3 of them that's locked behind one of the DLCs. And I probably would have gotten the achievements if the packaging of the way they released the DLC wasn't as obtuse as it was at the time. I really enjoyed the story and the base game itself. Looks like this one we're going to be following a new main character, which makes sense because the first game, the main character story is basically pretty complete, and there's also multiple endings, so to continue from that would be a bit complicated. But I really enjoy this like noir detective Lovecraftian crossover, and my favorite board game of all time is Arkham Horror: The Living Card Game, and that has a lot of the same DNA as this, with the Lovecraftian detective work in like the same time period. So definitely looking forward to this and excited to see more. And then now, second to last is The Altars. Now this is one that they had announced it before, and it's kind of like, okay, I don't know what this is, but we'll see. And then this coming from the people behind This War of Mine, which is a game I haven't played myself. It's got a lot of acclaim for how good it is, and a game that it's kind of depressing to play, but that's the intent, and they really dedicated to that rather than kind of toning it back or toning it down. I think is pretty admirable. And so this, you're on a planet, you are by yourself initially, and you're trying to stay alive, but there's so many rooms and different processes to do that you can't do it all yourself. So to help you, you start making clones of yourself, and you can modify, like, if you had done things differently.
What if I fought harder to save my marriage?
And so I feel like realistically, when you tell a computer to like make alterations to a clone, you don't say like change their life events. But I feel like the theme of this game, it really enhances that, being able to say, what if I did this differently, rather than, oh, like adjust this slider, make them more independent, more committed, and stuff like that. And so I think the theme of this game, like the gameplay, it looks like it's going to be kind of similar to This War of Mine, the way they have the wheel with all the different rooms compartmentalized. But I think the theme of this game really has a lot of potential. I'm really looking forward to it. So this is one of the games I'm most excited for. Basically trying to get along with different variations of yourself, I think is a really interesting question, because I feel like a lot of the time it's easy to write off other people as non-important or like completely different, like it's very easy to not even see them as human. And in reality, I feel like we have a lot of like human nature in common, and I think there's a lot more similarities between people than is presented. And so having this game where you are literally dealing with different variations of yourself and seeing how different, how like varied they act and the reasons behind that, I think is something that is a really strong theme that I'm really looking to seeing more of. And the way they handle the story, the tone and theme of This War of Mine, I feel like they're really dedicated to exploring that properly. So I think this is one that has a lot of potential. We'll have to see when it comes out. And then finally, I think if you know about the trailers that came out and you know me or my channel, this is not going to be any surprise that was in my top 3. But Persona 3 The Answer DLC is being added to the base game of Persona 3 Reload, and I'm really excited about that. I mean, I think there is some debate or conversation around like, should that have been included with the original Persona 3 Reload? And Persona 3 Reload is a full game in itself, but it is missing this DLC, and it is a remake, so I feel like it's not out of bounds to ask for that to be included. But I will say one bonus is that if you do have Game Pass, I did some investigation, dug into it a bit, then you get this expansion pass included, and so I think it's nice that it's no additional cost for Game Pass subscribers. And if you don't have Game Pass and you have to buy the expansion separately, I do feel like that is a lot bigger issue or detractor from the excitement around it. But either way, I'm definitely glad to have the Answer DLC added into the game, because otherwise I feel like the only other thing I can ask for to make this like a definitive Persona 3 experience is the option to have a female protagonist and play through the game as them. And that's something that was added in Persona 3 Portable but hasn't been in any other releases. And I think that's the only content that's missing from like across the board of Persona 3 that you wouldn't be able to experience playing through Persona 3 Reload. So definitely improved the package overall. Like I said, definitely some. I understand the mixed feelings around the DLC, it being separate, but overall, I think it being added and available to the game is definitely a plus. And so that's going to wrap up my thoughts on the Xbox partner preview for March 2024. Definitely some stuff I'm excited about and we'll be keeping an eye on. And some other stuff that isn't for me, but I feel I'm glad that it exists and that's there for people that are looking for that experience, rather than everything just being like, oh, Leviathan Trust won't like it, so let's not make it. It's like, no, I want there to be games that are not my thing, are not what I'm looking forward to, but are different and have space to explore that and create a full playable game of it. So that's going to wrap it for this video. If you enjoyed this video or want to see more stuff like this, then subscribing, leaving a comment, or a like helps let me know that it struck a chord with you and is something that you would want more of. But either way, thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time.